across countless towns and cities. There are businesses that seem innocent, laundromats humming late at night, quiet restaurants, modest car washes, corner shops, small hotels. They look unremarkable. But behind many of these facades lurk invisible systems of crime. Money laundering rings, human trafficking networks, smuggling operations, rackets that feed on fear, addiction, corruption, and the path of least suspicion. This is the story of how criminal networks weave themselves into everyday commerce, how they hide in plain sight, and why vigilance matters. Legitimate businesses, restaurants, laundries, car washes, retail stores, small hotels are ideal for criminal organizations because they handle large amounts of cash. Transactions are hard to trace precisely, and public expectations about low profit, high cash flow help mask irregularities. Take one recent example. In Greece, authorities uncovered mafias using hotels, laundromats, and tourist region businesses, laundromats that clean linen for hotels, restaurants, hospitals, as fronts to launder illicit funds from cigarette smuggling, drug trafficking, and other crimes. The laundromats reported legitimate business, tons of linen processed, steady revenue, which allowed the criminals to funnel dirty cash into a plausible income stream. Often, these operations use complex layers of shell companies, straw directors, and financial sleight of hand to obscure who really owns, controls, or benefits from the business. This tactic is familiar. The infamous leak from the law firm Mossack Fonseca revealed how shell company structures have been used globally to conceal illicit activity. In recent years, law enforcement agencies have cracked several such operations. In 2024 alone, the Australian Federal Police, AFP, announced that 126 people have been charged with 158 money laundering offenses, with over odd $23.4 million in criminal assets seized or restrained, a stark indicator of how widespread and systemic the problem is. In one headline-making case, a group allegedly operated a money laundering network through a security company, a classic car dealership, and an ATM service firm. Over $190 million was allegedly moved using dead drops, cryptocurrency conversions, and couriers. The kind of multi-layered structure that transforms dirty money into apparently legitimate assets. But it's not just laundromats and car washes. Crime syndicates around the world use restaurants, bars, nail salons, barber shops, retail stores, and even sweet shops or small businesses that on paper seem innocuous. According to the National Crime Agency, NCA, in the UK, such cash-intensive businesses are often used to funnel illicit funds, from drug trafficking, cigarette smuggling, human trafficking, and more, into the legal economy. One operation in 2025, labeled Operation Machinize, saw police raids on 265 high-street businesses, barbershops, shops selling vapes or tobacco, etc., resulting in 35 arrests, over £1 million in frozen assets, the shutdown of multiple premises, and rescue of dozens of potential victims of modern slavery. What makes these schemes so effective is their camouflage under the guise of normal business. If someone walks past a laundromat or barbershop, they see nothing suspicious. Profit margins, conflicts in bookkeeping, these things happen all the time in small businesses. That plausible deniability gives criminals cover. But the stakes are higher than just tax evasion. These front businesses become the backbone of larger criminal enterprises, networks that traffic drugs, weapons, illicit tobacco, human beings. Syndicates that exploit vulnerable people, that finance corruption, that spread fear through extortion. The legitimate business becomes the mask. Consider how criminal organizations diversify. One syndicate might smuggle drugs, another sells counterfeit cigarettes. Rather than stash the profits under mattresses or offshore bank accounts, which draw attention, they buy a laundromat, a restaurant franchise, a hotel, or a car wash, anything that deals in large amounts of cash. Over time, they inflate sales, overstate expenses, funnel illicit cash as daily takings, and blend it with legitimate earnings. In some cases, the businesses are used not just for laundering, but for direct criminal activity. Front hotels or bars can house trafficked persons or drug operations. Shell companies can be used to open bank accounts, move money internationally, or own assets without revealing the real owners. The danger is systemic. Because these criminal networks are embedded within the normal economy, they distort markets. Legitimate small business owners, honest laundromat operators, small-town restaurants, modest retail shops find themselves competing with enterprises backed by illicit cash. Prices, rents, wages may get pushed up. In regions where corruption is high, entangled with organized crime, entire sectors become suspect. Governments and law enforcement agencies have begun fighting back, but the challenge is massive. Money laundering changes shape, from cash-heavy laundromats to cryptocurrency-enabled shell networks, to cross-border layering via offshore companies and false invoicing schemes. One major effort, Operation Destabilize, led by the NCA and involving multiple international partners, exposed a global laundering ring that moved millions through cryptocurrency exchanges, shell companies, and courier networks operating across several countries. The network reportedly facilitated flows for drug traffickers, sanctioned criminals, and even espionage-linked actors. Criminals' choice of businesses often reflect their goals: low overhead, heavy cash flow, little regulatory scrutiny, and easy public invisibility. Laundromats, small hotels, car washes, cash-only retail or convenience stores. These are perfect. As one report on modern money laundering notes, these graphene-thin layers of legitimacy serve as shields, hiding dirty flows in plain sight until they become embedded in legal economies. But front businesses cannot hide forever. Investigations show that when authorities connect disparate data, financial records, suspicious deposit patterns, discrepancies between declared income and actual flows, the mask begins to crack. As the AFP noted, coordinated efforts to trace money flows, freeze assets, and indict operators have disrupted many such syndicates. Beyond laundering, these networks prey on human vulnerability. In the UK's 2025 crackdown under Operation Machinize, authorities uncovered not only money laundering, but also human trafficking and modern slavery, immigrants and vulnerable individuals forced to work in businesses supposedly legitimate, like barbershops or convenience stores, while the profits funneled upward to criminal kingpins. For the ordinary citizen, this matters. It means that when you pass a laundromat at midnight or step into a cheap motel or sit at a small diner, you might be walking through evidence of a global crime network and supporting it unknowingly. Every seemingly innocuous cash transaction, every bill paid in cash, every silent purchase, these are the subtle threads that tighten the web of organized crime. So what can be done? First, transparency. Financial institutions must bolster anti-money laundering (AML) compliance, monitor cash, heavy businesses more strictly, and flag unusual patterns, large cash deposits, repeated deposits just under reporting thresholds, invoices that don't match actual activity. Second, regulatory reform. Shell companies and straw owner structures should be harder to hide behind. Beneficial ownership registries should be public or subject to scrutiny. Third, public awareness. Citizens, journalists, small business owners must be aware that these everyday businesses may be fronts, and that real crime depends on public complacency. Efforts are underway. New technologies, including advanced pattern recognition and fraud detection systems, are being developed. Research into graph neural network models that analyze large-scale transaction graphs shows promise in flagging suspicious laundering patterns that traditional rule-based AML systems miss. If regulators adopt these tools widely, tracing the flow of illicit funds can become more reliable, making it harder for criminals to hide behind veneer of legitimacy. Still, criminals adapt. As one network dismantled in Europe under a major international effort was discovered to be moving funds across borders via cryptocurrency exchanges, real estate, shell companies, and offshore holdings. The kind of layered, global structure described under Operation Destabilize. It becomes clearer that stopping front businesses alone isn't enough. Cross-border cooperation, financial transparency, global AML standards are needed. The takeaway is this: organized crime is not a relic of smoky backrooms or stereotypical gang hideouts. It's in laundromats humming after midnight. It's in empty car wash bays. It's in hotels with dim lights and cheap rates. It's behind the counter of convenience stores. behind the receipts of barber shops, beneath the veneer of everyday commerce. And sometimes it's right where you least expect, the businesses you ignore, the shops you walk past, the small services you take for granted. Because for criminal networks, the most valuable asset isn't guns or drugs, it's invisibility. And the more ordinary the business, the harder it is to believe it could be anything else. If this breakdown helped open your eyes to what might be happening behind the storefronts you pass every day, do one thing. Share this story, talk about it, reach out. Support transparency. The weaker the shadows, the harder it is for crime to hide. And if you want more breakdowns of hidden criminal structures, systemic corruption, and the way real-world crime seeps into everyday life, hit like and subscribe. Because awareness is the first step toward dismantling a network. Share this with someone who believes dives into deeper truths matter. Keep your eyes open. The next time you pass a laundromat, a hotel, or a car wash, remember, appearance can be deception. What seems innocent may just be the cleanest face of something very dirty.